As y'all can see, it's your host from the Paradigms Perspective Show. And I got a segment, a dolo segment, as you can see, called ZAY'S Way. You feel me? And this is just it's a little introduction episode. You know, I threw on a little something to, match the vibe. Shout out to Caleb and Sid. We spent a couple minutes, getting this set right, but we got it right. And welcome to ZAY'S Way. You feel me? I'm excited about this. The Paradigms and Perspective Show. We have good talks over there for sure, but this is just a way to really dive deep into my mind. Like, a lot of people know how I think, but they don't really know how I think. And what really, me and Caleb been talking about this for some weeks actually. But what really inspired me, I was talking to this young lady and she was like, yeah, you have good conversations on the platform, don't get me wrong. But she was like, the type of conversations me and you have, I'm not able to tell you can have those conversations based on me just watching your podcast. And I'm like, and at first she didn't want to tell me because she didn't know how I was going to take it, but I'm like, you right. When I thought about it, you right. Like I said, we have good talks on there, but at the same time, I feel myself hold back on certain topics because I don't want to get off into those 5-10 minute, deep tangents, and it's other people on the platform got to speak too. So it's just about, being in that space, you got to be mindful of, other people's turn to speak. But we're here, I can flow. So, like I said, I seen what she meant by that, so that's why I didn't take it to heart. But like I said, I'm your boy Zay Appling, from Atlanta, Georgia. Grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. I've lived in Bankhead. I lived on the east side, Lakewood. You know what I mean? I'm a real Atlanta baby. I got 404 tatted on my shin. Like, I'm really but at the same time, I was able to. I had the texture from being from the hood, but at the same time, I was able to, as they would say back in the day, go across those train tracks and, see a different world, expand my palette of, if you will, personality in a sense, or just aura, and being able to be around different people and different cultures and not feeling intimidated. That's why I can go around different cultures. I can go around Asian people, Indian people, white people, and it's like, they don't stop talking to me. I'm not changing my voice up. I'm not talking about stuff I don't want to talk about. I'm a very knowledgeable person on a lot of different things. So these people have no issue with coming up and talking to me because even how I look, the free forms, the beard, you would think, you'd be surprised the type of people that come up and talk to me just because how I carry myself. I carry myself with confidence. I carry myself like I belong in every room because I do. And the reason why I do that is because of the things that I went to, the things that I went through, the things that I've endured, the knowledge I've possessed both through school and out of school, whether it's metaphysics, physics, learning physics on my own, organic chemistry. Like, I'm into all of those things. And we're going to get into a lot of that. You know what I mean? I've been watching a lot of Terrence Howard. So, he's not crazy. I'm going to just say that. But yeah, just being able to tap into a wide variety of life, at an early age. And I think that's where I kind of flourished and started flourishing early. Went to Sandy Creek High School, that was where I was able to pick up and develop that sense of the other side. I drove 30 minutes to go to high school. I stayed in Lakewood. I was on for Carver, Atlanta. Went to Sandy Creek over in Tyrone, Georgia. And, I was able to be around, still, black students over there, but I was able to be around, those white students and whatnot, and, the Indian students, the Asian students, because I was in a lot of honors classes. So I was never, I played football, but I was never the jock type. Because I was studying with the group of people that most of my teammates wasn't studying with. I was taking classes with most of the people my teammates weren't taking classes with. So it would be silly of me to try to treat those people lesser than just because they didn't play a sport like me. Those were some of the coolest people. I ain't gonna lie, to this day, a lot of those people from my honors classes, I would much rather catch up with them and see what they doing as opposed to a lot of people I played football with, because they were, as I get older, you realize those people are much more interesting. With your teammates, you just had one common thing in hand. It was just football, or whatever sport you played. And because you took that sport so serious at that moment, That's all you could really wrap your mind around what was important. If somebody didn't have that same interest in that particular thing, you immediately shun them. But you're not even thinking about the type of knowledge you could have learned from that person, the type of connection or friendship you could have learned from that person. That's why I can say I could hit up anybody from my class and like it's respect and it's love because I never acted like I was better than anybody. I know who I am. I know I'm different. I know I'm one of one. But I never acted like I was better than anybody because you never know who you might need coming on later in life. That's why they say they treat the janitor like the CEO. You know what I mean? You treat everybody the same because you don't know who you might run into. You know, and that just builds character. That builds character, that builds integrity because, you know, like Kenya was talking about when we interview her. Shout out to Kenya. That's going to be a dope episode. Y'all, it's probably already out if y'all seeing this. But yeah, she was just saying how a lot of hairstylists, they treat certain celebrities or certain people in the media different than their quote unquote regular clients. But it's like, why? That regular client could be the niece to somebody much more important than any other celebrity that the hair that you've done. But you don't care about that. You don't care about that because you don't care about creating genuine relationships. All you care about is clout, getting the one up, kissing these people ass and make, oh yeah, whatever you need, trying to tax them. And it's like, come on, do good business, have integrity, you know. So yeah, and that's one thing high school really taught me, and I'm glad I moved like that in high school. Like me and Kobe moved like that. Like we was cool with everybody. Like I said, we wasn't like the main guys, and we never thrived to be because we knew it was life after high school. But at the same time, we understood that we got to build our face card amongst different groups. You know, you don't want to just be consolidated within one group. So once you get out of high school, you was only consolidated with one group, and that one group fizzle out. You don't have a network no more. Your network is fried because you kept your network so shrunken and isolated to where you weren't able to create a web because you didn't build connections amongst those different individuals and different peoples and different crowds. You wanted to, in a sense, segregate yourself because you thought that the group you was with was the ones and it's gonna always be the ones. You was probably the ones at that time period, but life goes on and them tables turn. And depending on what side that table is on, you either gonna love when them tables turn or you gonna hate it. So, you know, like I said, went to Santa Cruz High School. It was a great experience. Me personally, I don't get how people be like, oh, I hate high school. I loved high school. Like, bro, I loved high school, bro. Like, it was a vibe. Like, things happen in high school and whatnot, but it was a learning experience, you know. But like, I had a blast. I didn't peak in high school, and I still had a blast. I think that's very possible. I think some people think that you have to peak in high school or something like that for it to be a fun experience. But it's like, no, you can treat high school at a very moderate, smooth little level and still have a good time. And still treat it as you got life afterwards after high school, because you do. Went to Newberry College. That was also that was much bigger, like a much bigger, like, culture. I wouldn't culture shock. I wouldn't really say culture shock because I don't really get that feeling when I'm into different places, but it was definitely different from my environment. Like I said, lived in Lakewood since I was 9, so that area, if anybody know anything about that area, very, as the white people would say, urban, very urban. So, growing up in that area, then going to school like Newberry College, 40 minutes outside of Columbia, like somewhat in the country area, not somewhat, it's pretty much in the country area. PWI, you feel me? So again, being around different types of students and different races of students, I wasn't intimidated because, granted, like, I was at Sandy Creek High School with different races of students. And even before that, my mom used to take me to a science program every Saturday. I think it was during the fall season, but it was over at Fernbeck Science Center. They used to have Saturday classes, and I would be in there with a bunch of smart students. And at the time, I hated it. But as I look back, I'm like, dang, bro, that was dope. That was a dope experience, bro. Like, and I think that's so important. Like, when you have a parent that exposes you to a bunch of different things. Like, my mom knew all I was focused on was football. But she knew, like, you can have your football. We can let you have that, but you still have to be well versed. She made sure I was well versed without necessarily, even if that wasn't her objective, she automatically did that because she had me in so many different things, whether it was having me in a chess club or letting me try baseball. I never liked baseball, but she's like, you got to try it at least 1 year. If you don't like it, we got to do it again. And one thing she always said, you got to finish something. You know, you got to finish, at least a season, finish it. And that's something I stand by, you know, that's something I stand by. So just things like that. Going through college was a vibe too, you know, being off by yourself, you know, learning. It's the first time you really living by yourself, you know. That's when you really find out what type of discipline you got. Because everybody think they got discipline, but, you know, you're living with your parents, you know, that's high school is still very structured. That high school system is still very structured. You got teachers that still gonna call your parents like, hey, you know, such and such not really doing too well in my class. Them professors is not gonna be reaching out to you. No, it's just not happening. You know, you have to take that initiative in college. You have to take that initiative. I went into college as a what's it called? I was a dual enrollment student already. So when I went to college, I was in my sophomore year. So that's why it only took me 3 years. I won't say only, but it took me 3 years to graduate college because I already had a good amount of credits. You feel me? So, and it's so funny, bro. Like, I remember my freshman year, and people are the reason why I'm telling this story because of how people look at me now. I remember my freshman year, people always be like, "Dang, bro, you ain't going out tonight, bro. Like, you always in your room, boom, boom." Those same people, "Dang, Zay, you be doing it, bro. Like, you be killing it, bro." And I never bring it up, but the first thing I think back into my head is like, freshman year, bro, I was the guy didn't want to go out. I was being lame, like, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that in a way to like make them feel bad about saying it, but just like, you know, at freshman year, I guess you consider that being lame, you know. But I always had a coach that told me, shit, being lame is being cool. You know what I mean? So sometimes it takes being lame to become that cool guy because you gotta isolate yourself, and that's really what I was doing. I didn't really know it, but I was just like, I just want to be to myself, like let my thoughts run. I don't really need to be out all the time. I'm not an outside guy. So if I was always outside, that's just me conforming to somebody that I'm not. And that's what happens to a lot of people in college. They conform to an individual that they're not. So now that the individual that they see that they look in the mirror after post-college or post any, you know, time period where they were somebody that they're not, they look in the mirror and they can't stand themselves because they felt like they betrayed themselves all because they wanted to merge into an environment, blend into an environment. But we live in a world where everybody's sweating so different, but people are constantly trying to blend into environments. If you were so confident in yourself, you wouldn't be pressed about trying to blend into environments. Like if it naturally happened, if these environments naturally coagulated around you and you know you was absorbed by them, that's different. But it's a lot of people forcing their way into certain circles or whatnot because you think these people got clout or stain. I'm here to tell you, a lot of these circles that you think got clout and all that, they face card in real life is not how it is on social media. It's two different things. You know. So yeah, like I said, college was a fun experience, man. That's when I tapped into my entrepreneurial side. First time I told this story on camera was on Caleb podcast. Shout out Caleb, man. Actually, he's the reason why I see me in front of a camera now. He got me into media, bro, and I'm so grateful and thankful for that because I would have never known I was, you know, great at this. You feel me? But yeah, my fall year of 2020, you know, I told the story before, selling hoodies and drinks and shirts out my room, and that really showed me like, this who you can be. I remember the whole time I was, you know, during that whole process, Larry June and Burner had dropped a tape called Cooks and Orange Juice. Man, I was bumping that every day, man. Hey, I felt like a real trap nigga. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like a real trap nigga, like hoodies, shirts, you know, had the speaker bumping, had people coming to my door for the drinks, for the hoodies, for the shirts, had a couple, you know, women in and out helping me out and whatnot, like folding the shirts. Like, hey, I felt like that. I'm not gonna lie, I felt like that nigga. You know what I mean? But I didn't let it get to my head at the same time. You know, I remained grounded. You know, I enjoyed it because I was the only person on campus that had a brand that was really like getting out there. Like people in Columbia was talking about it, people in Charleston was talking about it. So it was like a brand that was really getting out there. So from that standpoint, just from that standpoint or from that time period, that's why I'm never rushing to drop clothes or drop apparel or drop pieces, because I know what my pieces can do. And the pieces that I dropped then was like them was the rollout pieces. So the designs and the pieces I got now, it's just like there's no rush. A real artist never rush their work. You know what I mean? You can go back into history. It's Kanye got tons of shit. Y'all haven't even got a glance at. People like Pharrell, tons of shit. Anybody in the fashion or music or any type of art, they got tons of shit that you haven't even thought of that they could even create something like this. You know what I mean? Like a lot of artists are 5-10 years ahead, bro, because they when you create through intuition and create from within, you're tapping into places that a lot of people don't tap into because they're so externally validated. So you're going into a world that most people have never tapped into. So of course you're going to find and reveal and unlock certain things that you've never unlocked. You know what I mean? Because you're surrounded by an environment of people who don't know what that inner world look like, who don't know how to take those ideas from your inner world and from your inner mind and translate it from the 5D to the 3D. They don't know how to manifest. They don't know how to use pen and magic and to manifest things. They don't know how to take an idea and to transmute it into a physical thing. That's transmutation in its simplest form. If you can turn an idea into a physical form, whether it's something great or something small, you are now an alchemist, because that's taking certain elements, whether it's actual physical elements or mental elements, and turning it into a complete one. That's alchemy. You know, so yeah, college was smooth. I graduated earlier than most of my peers that I graduated high school from, so I got into the real world pretty quick. And before I jump to that, the end of my college year, fall 2020, college senior year, that's when I had my spiritual awakening. And I always tell people, when I always speak on my spiritual awakening, people always like, bro, what? Like what? So I'm gonna say it. I had my spiritual awakening in a graveyard, right next to my campus. I remember I told one girl about it. I was like, I think it's like a year and a half ago. I was like, yeah, I had my spiritual awakening. I was sitting on the ground in a cemetery. She was like, what made you go over there? I would never do that. Well, that's the difference between me and you, sweetheart. Like, I follow destiny. Like wherever destiny need me, I'm gonna follow her. Like, hey, like destiny call her, I'm going. So you know what I mean? So, and a lot of people get stuck right there because they think, oh, a cemetery or a graveyard, I would have never went there. You'll never be able to tap into your full greatness, because sometimes so many people are so stuck on wanting to be in control all the time. When you just, bro, I've never walked through that graveyard. It's right next to our campus. I've never walked through it. I've never walked around the school at night. That was a day before, I think a day or two before my graduation. What makes you do that? Only answer I have is spirit. Something out, bro, I can't explain it. So when people ask me what made you go through, I didn't think about doing it. I just did it. I allowed myself to take that journey, take that path. If I would have never taken that journey or that path, y'all would not see that. Y'all would see a version or a fraction of who I am, but not in this complete version, because I allowed myself to walk that journey. You know, so, and that's just kind of like a sum up of, you know, my early days in life. You know, growing up as a kid, you know, grew up with a single mother, and you know, growing up with a single mom, it's two ways you really come out of that situation. You either come out of it very emotional, very, very scatterbrained, you know, real fucked up, just because you can't control your emotions and you don't know how to tap into your masculine frame and hold your masculine frame, or you're in the other spectrum of you start to learn life early. You start to embody that role of wanting to be that masculine frame early. Like, you know, growing up in the house with my mom and my sister, I wanted to be the protector, like at an early age. So that's just something that never waned from me. Like, so even now to this day, it's easy for me to be a protector, because that was something I was ambitious about being, or something I thrived to be as a young kid. So now it's something that's natural. Like, so when women are around me, they just naturally feel that protector energy, because it's something I always wanted to be, because a missing piece in the household, you know, and I was able to look at that situation I was in of growing up in a single parent household as something as of my benefit, of a learning situation, you know. And when you're able to turn those certain situations that's supposed to be negative into something that catapults you in life, now you're becoming a cheat code in life because these things were meant to hold you back. So now you're using things that was meant to hold you back as something that's guiding you. So I started letting that guide me, you know. Then my mom had me in not an entrepreneur program, a mentor program called 100 Black Men of South Metro. Shout out the whole 100 Black Men of America. And I say that just because of what 100 Black Men of South Metro Incorporated chapter did for me. I still know the opening poem to this day. I'm a mentee of 100 Black Men of South Metro Incorporated. While I'm being groomed to be a Renaissance man, a man who's well read, well spoken, well dressed, well traveled, well balanced. When I become a man, I'll reach back and lift over nothing, for he is not heavy, he is my brother. So that's something like that's part of me. We were spitting Invictus. Like before I was even became a noob, I was already spitting Invictus. I was spitting like if like I knew these poems. And you know, Invictus, I night the company, black as a pig from pole to pole. I think whatever guys may be from our conquered soul. And the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not wished nor cried aloud, and the blood of the chance, but headed bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of rise of tears, looms behold it say, yet the minister of tears, files to find me unafraid. Matters not how straight to get I charge upon the scroll, and I'm the master of my fate, and I'm captain of my soul. So once you break down those certain poems, and you're learning that at an early age, we was repeating that before every single meeting on a Saturday. Where kids, most hospitals, we don't want to get out of bed on a Saturday morning. We're going into those classrooms every day, repeating not just that poem, but whatever poem we had to learn, plus the ROP Academy's hymn. So those are things that was ingrained in us, you know, and even things like, you know, teaching us how to tie a tie, being well groomed, low cut, you know, smooth beard. I'm sure how I am now. You know, they be like, hey, you know, what you got going on your hair? But because of how I carry myself and how I speak and how I represent the chapter, it's still all love. I know they gonna give me, you know, older people. They only make jokes about you when they like you. If they don't make jokes about you, they don't really fuck with you. That's something I've been around older people a lot, and that's one thing I've realized. You know, especially in the tone, it's a very joking manner. You know, and I think a lot of our generation kind of get hung up or not really understanding how, you know, older people communicate with us. But yeah, just being around them and being around men of certain of different, you know, walks of life. You know, lawyers, dentists. People in the government, councilmen, all these different people, you know, different walks of life. And not to say any of us had to be any particular one of those lives that they walk, but at the same time, it's exposure. So it's like, oh man, like if I wanted to be that, I see what it looked like. If I wanted to be that, I see what it looked like. And the motto for the program was, what they see is what they'll be. And that's so true, bro. You look at today, these kids are becoming what they're seeing. So we get mad at, oh, look at these kids. Well, what did they get it from? It didn't just pop out of their head and they almost start acting like this. They're watching their environment. So to get mad at the kids, for being a sponge of something that's who they naturally are, get mad at our society for having, for providing certain residue or certain texture, the wrong type of texture for these kids to soak up as a sponge. So basically what I'm saying is, don't get mad at the kid for being a sponge, get mad at the culture for providing a dirty water for that sponge to soak up. You know what I mean? Like it's a difference. So one of these things are natural. The other thing is something we can control. We can't control a kid being a sponge. That's just who they are. So once you get to that point of understanding that, it's like, okay, cool, you know. So yeah, childhood wasn't perfect, but it was life. It was life. And like once I grasped the concept of, you know, and it was hard for me to accept this. Cause I just like, damn, I agreed to come down in this lifestyle, and you know what I mean. But once I, you know, just like, and even if this is not the case, I've came to agreement that I've agreed to this contract of this life that I'm in. You know, I agreed to all the terms and the stipulations and you know, and the ramifications. So once I got to that point, I'm like, okay, you actually be here. You know, a lot of the, you know, rhetorics is, we didn't ask to be here, people didn't ask to be here. I just take it out. I take accountability. I asked to be here. I asked to be in this position. I asked to be, this certain caliber individual. I asked to have this amount of power. I asked to have this certain level of mental knowledge. I asked to have this type of impact on people. That's the level of soul I have. Like, a lot of people, I don't even like really talking about my life path number because a lot of people don't believe me when I say it. But I'm a life path 33. That's a master number. So with me, once I figured that out, I'm like, oh yeah, I asked for everything that I'm going through. I had to have, bro, to have that type of life path number, and for people to constantly tell me, oh, you're this and that for your age and this and that. Oh, you're pretty advanced for your. So I'm like, damn, what I do isn't normal. And you can ask my brother. I used to think everything I used to do was like normal. I thought everybody was doing that. I thought everybody had the capabilities that I had. And it was just, I was so caught up in being humble. Like, that word just do something to me, because I fumbled. I didn't fumble, but I set myself back in a time period where I really could have been catapulted myself by focusing in on being humble. I wasn't just humble, bro. I was focusing in on being humble. So I was going out of my way to be humble. So how people was perceiving that is, oh, he's not really that good, or whatever he's doing. He's not really that guy, whatever he's doing. They didn't understand I was overemphasizing the humble part. It wasn't that I wasn't capable. I was just giving off the energy of wanting to be humble so much to where it looked like I just didn't have the capability. And that's what a lot of people are doing. You're trying so hard to be humble that people are mistaking you for not even being able to do what you're good at, bro. Like, that's correct. Once I figured that out, I said, fuck being humble, bro. Like, literally, like, I was mad that whole day. I'm like, bro. And my brother used to always tell me, he like, bro, like, talk your shit, like, not in an aggressive or demeaning way, but like, bro, like, show people that you confident, because that goes a long way. When people start to play with your name, if they don't see that confidence there, because a lot of people who start to play with your name, they don't see that confidence there. They know it's there, but because you don't know it's there, they gonna act like they don't know it's there, because they're like, shit, you don't know. Cool, like, all right.
Hey, you remember Copper? He told you about the word.
Right, bro. Right. It's nasty work. So like, once you get past that word of wanting to be humble all the time, bro, get rid of that, man. Well, how we on the time, Caleb?
2 minutes left.
2 minutes left, so we can ride. Hey.
Next time, bro, we gotta make this 50 minutes, man.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
2 minutes though.
Bro, that shit was crazy, bro. I've tapped out, bro. I tapped out, bro. I swear.
You killed it, bro.
Hey, man. Hey, this has been dope, bro. Like, I think this. No telling where this is gonna go. Yeah. This is gonna be a banger. Like this is only. It's already written. You know what I mean? Like Cat Williams said, hey, this gonna shake up. Yeah. So when y'all start seeing people reach out to me for interviews after this segment start rolling out, hey, just know. But hey, this has been the first episode of ZAY'S Way. It's your host Zay. Hey, shout out to Caleb and Sid. Shout out to 3 Million Productions. We gonna catch y'all on the next one, man. Peace. Yeah.